This is the third training video for pre-trip, and we're going to focus on the outside of the bus. First, step in front of the bus. I'm going to inspect the overall of the bus from left to right, front to rear. Make sure it's not leaning or tilted. If it is, those are the signs, either flat tire or suspension issue. Next, I'm going to inspect all my lenses and covers. All my lenses above there, all my lenses. Make sure they are securely mounted. They are proper in color. They're not cracked or missing. I'm also going to inspect my school bus reflective tape. Make sure that it's securely attached to the bus, proper in color, not cracked or missing. As we are in the front, I'm going to inspect the under the bus, make sure there's no puddles, no dripping fluid from either the underside of the engines. If it is, this can be oil or transmission fluid. Now we're going to inspect under the hood. I will start off with our three fluids. It's the coolant, the oil, dipstick, and the power steering fluid. First, the coolant. I'm going to inspect, make sure the coolant reservoir is securely mounted, cap is tight, and I don't see no leaks. Also, make sure that the fluid level is at the proper, which should be between max and add, and it's right above max, so we're good on that. I'm going to inspect the oil dipstick. I also make sure that the oil is securely mounted. I don't see no leaking, and there's no damage. Also, to check the proper level for the oil, I will turn and take the dipstick out, wipe it clean, stick it back in, and pull it back out to check the proper level. The third fluid, it will be the power steering. Make sure that the reservoir is tight, securely mounted. Make sure the level is at the proper level. It should be max, between max and min, and it's right above max. And make sure the cap is tight. And I also don't see any leaking from the power steering. Next, I will inspect all my hoses. I see all my hoses and air lines. Make sure they are securely mounted. I don't see any cut, tears, or frays. I also don't see any leaks or any audible leaks. From there, we're gonna start with our power steering system. First, I'll inspect the steering linkage. Make sure that it's securely mounted. I don't see any damage. I'm checking my sockets and joints. Make sure they are not worn or loose, and I don't see any damage for the steering linkage. Next, it will be the steering box. Make sure that the steering box is securely mounted. I don't see any damage, such as crack or missing nuts or bolts. And I also don't see any leaking. Then from there, I'll go on to inspect the steering hoses and connections. Make sure the connections are tight, they're not loose or cracked or broken. And also make sure that the hoses are securely mounted. I don't see any cut, tears, or frays. I also don't see any leaking or audible leaks. And then from there, I go to my steering arm. Make sure the steering arm is securely mounted. I don't see any crack, loose, or damage. And I don't see missing cutter keys, pins, bolts, or nuts. And then the last for the steering system will be the steering rod and links. The steering rod is securely mounted. The links are secured, not loose or worn, and no damage to the steering rod. Then from there, we're going to go on to the suspension, shock mounts and springs. First will be the spring hanger. Make sure there's both at each end. Make sure it's securely mounted. And I don't see any cracks, no missing bolts or nuts, and there's no damage. Next to it, it will be leaf spring. Make sure that it's securely mounted all the way down. I don't see no damage, not loose or cracked. Not also important is not shifted. The next one, it will be the shock mount right here. Make sure that it's securely mounted, no missing bolts or nuts, and it's not damaged. And what it's holding is the steering absorber. Make sure that it is securely mounted. I don't see no cracks or damage, and it's not leaking. Okay, from there, we're gonna go right over here, which the brake lines and hoses. Make sure they are securely mounted. I don't see no cut, tears, or frays, and also no leaking or audible leaks. And then from the hoses, I will go straight in here to inspect my contaminants, which is the first one is the brake drum. Make sure it's securely mounted. It's not loose, it's not cracked, and it's not damaged. There are also no contaminants such as oil, grease, or debris. And right next to it is the brake lining. The brake lining is also securely mounted, not loose, cracked, or damaged. No contaminants such as oil, grease, or debris. Also is not dangerously worn thin. Okay, so our tires. I'm gonna check the tires, make sure that it's evenly worn. The tread depth should be 4/32 in the front, 2/32 in the back. And by finding that out, I will use the tread depth gauge. And I don't see no objects in the tires such as screws, nails, or anything like that, or cut or anything like that that will punch a hole in the tire. Then come down, inspect the sidewall. Make sure the sidewall, I don't see any cuts, bulges, or bubbles, and it's no damage. Then from there, we see the rim. I'm going to inspect the rim, make sure it's securely mounted. There are no illegal welding repairs. Also, I want to make sure that all my bolt holes and studs are not elongated. And then come down, I will inspect all my lug nuts. Make sure they are all present. Make sure they are all tight. I don't see any signs of looseness such as shiny threads or rust trails. And I don't see anyone missing. And there is no damage. And then from there, I'm going to inspect my valve stem. The valve stem is present, is accessible, cap is tight, and is securely mounted. And if I were to check the inflation of the tire, I use the tire gauge and make sure it should be between 90 and 100 psi. Now that's all the tire we inspect for the tires. I'm going to close the hood down, and then we'll go to the next item. On the left side of the bus, there are only two parts to inspect. First is the tire. Now we're going to inspect the battery box. Make sure the door works properly and there's no damage. I'm checking, make sure that all the batteries are secured. They're all locked in. Don't see any damage, they're not loose. I'm also inspecting my wires and hoses and connections. Make sure they are not worn or cracked or loose. They are all tight, and I don't see any excessive corrosion. And make sure the door opens and closes and secure from the outside. Okay, let's come to the right side of the bus. We're gonna inspect our traffic monitoring device. The first traffic monitoring device, it will be our flat and convex mirrors, both right and left. Make sure that the mirrors are clean, no flaws or cracks to the mirrors. They are securely mounted. Also the brackets, make sure they're securely mounted to the bus. I don't see no bent, not damage, and I don't see any missing parts. Second traffic monitoring device will be our camera, the outside side camera. Make sure it's securely mounted, it's clear, it's clean, it's visible, it can be visible from the inside. Auto display should be operable and adjusted for viewing. Now on this side, I will inspect all my lenses. Make sure all the lenses are proper in color, securely mounted, and also not cracks or missing. I will inspect all my reflectors. There's two in the front are amber in color, and one back there is red. Make sure they are securely mounted, proper in color, not cracked or missing. Then from there, we're going to check our DEF fluid. Make sure the door is no damage, open and shut and secure from the outside. I'm going to make sure that the tank is securely mounted, cap is tight, and I don't see any leaks from the tank or the hoses and lines. And the DEF is properly labeled. As we come here, fuel tanks is properly labeled. Door is no damage, open and closed and secure from the outside. The cap is tight. The tank is securely mounted, and I don't see any leaks from the tanks, hoses, and lines. And the last thing we inspect on this side of the bus, it will be our frame. I'm checking to make sure make sure there's no holes. There are no broken welds. I don't see no cracks. And also there's no damage to the longitude, cross members, box, and floor. Now we come to the rear of the bus. First, this bus is not equipped with the rear camera. I'm going to check all my lenses up there and all down here. Make sure all my lenses are securely mounted, proper in color. They are not cracked or missing. Also make sure I point out my two reflectors. They're red in color, same thing. They are securely mounted, not cracked, proper in color, and they're not damaged. I'm also going to inspect my school bus reflective tape and all my other reflective tapes. Make sure they are securely attached to the bus. They're also proper in color, and I don't see any cracks and not missing. Now lastly, I'm going to inspect my emergency door from the outside. I'm going to check, make sure it's properly labeled. Make sure that the glass, the window, there are no cracks or flaws to the windows, and also make sure there is no damage. I will open the door and check, make sure that the seals are intact. To look here, I'm gonna make sure that the hinges are securely mounted, no missing bolts or nuts. And also the release handle is working properly. Make sure the door open and close and is secure from the outside. And then after that, the pre-trip is complete.